everyone, and welcome back to Sugar Pills, a practical guide to self-care. As always, I'm your host, Candy Washington, and before we dive into today's episode, which will be a very inspiring conversation with Adora Winquist, you know what to do. If you need extra support, definitely check out our show notes and description box and grab our self-love journal. This is definitely your companion to your self-love journey. Also, just released is our latest course, which is Manifest Your Dream Life Through Self Love, a lifestyle design course. Now, this will also include our Art of Self Love Masterclass, all of our other courses, and also don't forget to sign up for our newsletter. That is 100% for free if you want a little extra support, and you get a free self love guide. Also, don't forget to share this with a friend. You know, anybody who's on their self love journey, and a little bit of support is always needed, so be sure to share. Like, rate, review, and subscribe. So with that, let's bring on our latest guest, Adora. So welcome, Adora. How are you?
Hello, Candy. Such a
Yes.
joy to be with you. I am wonderful, and I absolutely love everything that you're doing because
Thank you.
self-love is the way forward for us all.
Absolutely. And for those who may not be familiar with Adora, she is a modern day healer who has spent over 20 years supporting clients by using wisdom and non Western and non traditional practices to aid people in finding their best physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual self. And that is our sweet spot over here at Sugar Pills. So, welcome, Adora. Do you want to share with us a little bit more about yourself and how you got started?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Candy.
Yeah.
Well, I would definitely say that my journey has been one of self-discovery. And of course, before I came to starting my healing practice and my first business way back in 1998, energy healing and essential oil products, it really was because I was in such a crisis at a very young age and matters of bronchitis. So, right, chronic bronchitis, I would get every year from allergies. So, strong physical challenge there.
Mhm.
And then I was diagnosed very young as a teenager, late teenager, with endometriosis.
Oh, wow.
And for those of your listeners that may not know, but it is incredibly painful and debilitating disease that affects a woman's reproductive organs.
Mhm.
And so when I was 21, my doctor wanted to do a hysterectomy. And I realized, oh no, this can't be. I know somewhere there was a voice inside that said I was meant to have two children.
Mm.
And and that voice also said that there was another way. And
Mhm.
so, even through that great adversity, I found another way. And that was very much from the help of herbs, essential oils, vibrational medicine, and many other facets of complementary medicine, which is, of course, how I came to forge my career professionally out of that. And one of the biggest teachings for me in this journey, my own personal journey, and then, of course, working with thousands of individuals from all around the world in the past 25 years, is that everything comes back to love.
Yeah.
And all love starts with ourselves.
Mhm.
And of course, that desire that we have to be in loving relationships and to find that loving connection outside of ourselves will never be truly fulfilled until we find it within first. And so that has really been the core of my journey. And now, many years later, with my latest business platform, which is the Soul Institute,
Okay.
our mission is evolving consciousness through the frequency of love,
Yes.
and with a big beautiful vision of awakening and activating over 25 million individuals to embody their soul purpose and thrive in all ways of being. So whatever facets of my work, whether it's creating wonderful aromatherapy products or
Mhm.
programs like the Love Frequency, or even the retreats like the great ones that are coming up in Malibu in May.
Yeah.
There is a beautiful thread of love woven throughout them, because I believe that is the way forward for humanity to come back to a place of unification. And it's through that inner journey to find that deep connection with our hearts and have those become our true north, right? Like that internal
Yeah.
GPS that always guides us in the highest way, the highest path.
Absolutely. And a couple of things that came up for me when you were talking were I agree that self love really is that foundational frequency, that foundational state of being, like how you be is rooted in your own self love. And then from that
Yeah.
place, we're able to have the other things that you're talking about in your story, particularly with the endometriosis, if I pronounce that correctly.
Endometriosis, yeah,
Yes,
it's like it's a tongue twister
it's
for
a tongue
sure,
twister. It's a
endometriosis.
tongue twister. Yes.
Yeah.
But what came up for me with that was you had the intuition, right? You had that inner voice, your higher
Yes.
self intuition telling you,
Yes.
this is not right for you.
Yeah.
Your intuition knew what was right for you. You're meant to have these two children. There is
Yes.
a different way that is your divine way. And because you had self-love, or maybe you just were able in that moment, you were then able to have self-confidence, the confidence enough to
Mm,
say, I'm going to listen to myself more than
yeah,
I'm going to listen to this outside expert doctor. And not to say like don't listen to your doctor, of course, but
exactly.
when you have that internal voice, that intuition, that higher self telling you there's a different way, there's something
Yeah,
else for you, have the confidence to do that. And then that also leads to self trust, where I'm going to trust myself
exactly.
enough to know that I'm going to be okay and this is the right road. So it's
Exactly.
the self love is that you were connected to your intuition. And, a part of that is being able to hear yourself and discern what is my own voice. Because a lot of people don't even know what their intuition sounds like.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. This is such an important part of the journey of awakening, right?
Yeah.
As we're coming to these new levels of realization, of awareness. It's really the teacher, the guru, if you will, right? The
Yeah.
spiritual guide is ultimately found on the inner. And of
Yeah.
course, in this life, we have allies, because we're not meant to walk this journey of transformation and illumination alone.
Hmm.
Because as I heal, you heal. We're all
Yes.
connected. We're all connected. I was just writing a piece for one of the modules in my Love Frequency program. And it was so beautiful because I was was really looking at how our individual roots, our ancestral lineage,
Hmm.
are connected to not only our current day experience of reality, right? Because we carry that through our lineage, but
Hmm.
also to the collective consciousness of humanity, right? We are all connected. And there is this beautiful piece in the Smithsonian that was an interview with a German forester and author. And he wrote The Secret Life of Trees. And what
Hmm.
was so profound is that the trees in forest have all of their root systems connected. They share
Yeah.
nutrients, they share water, they communicate, right, about disease and
Mhm.
challenges.
Yeah.
And they do that not only within their own species, but all species. And
Mhm.
furthermore, it's so profound that in forests that are incredibly healthy, that are not too damaged, that's where we see the most connected root systems. And this is a
Mm.
great analogy for us and the importance of our own individual healing journey. Because the more that we can heal our own root system, our own
Yeah.
being from experiences from the past, the more that we're able to connect and lift and rise together, right?
Mhm.
To me, this is such a beautiful reminder of the power that we have within us.
100%. And what came up for me when you were talking was a couple of things. So one, when you were talking about like that our ancestors and our lineage and our
Yeah,
generation, how that still affects us to this day, 100%. Because one, there's generational trauma that happens as well, and
exactly.
that just gets passed down until you heal it and recognize it and heal from it. And then the people that heal from it and their families are the ones that are able to break the cycle and break the
Yeah,
patterns. And when they heal themselves, and then through example, they're able to heal other parts of their family as well. And then also a big part
yeah,
of that is our belief systems are also passed down from generation to generation. So
yeah.
it's the energetic spiritual trauma that
Hmm.
happens that gets passed along, and then it's also just the very practical. This is how we think. This is what we believe. This is how our family is. This is how it's always been
Yeah,
done. And what really manifests and shows up in your life is what you believe to be true. And that's why you see patterns within families, because they're passing down the energetic trauma and also the belief system. And once you heal both of
exactly.
those, just like the roots of the trees, you get
Yeah.
healthier trees, and then from there the roots can grow and heal and all of that. So 100%. And then the second thing that came up
Mm.
when you were talking, also, it's like the divine connection that we have, right? So there's like that one unconditional love consciousness, and we all are
Mm.
just our unique expressions of that consciousness, but we're all still
Yeah,
connected to each other because we all come from the same source. We're just our own unique expression
exactly.
of it. And that's why there's so much connectivity between us. And just like you said,
Yeah.
that's how you heal through community, because there's actually no separation.
Exactly, exactly. My book that came out in 2020, Detox, Nourish, Activate Plant and Vibrational Medicine for Energy, Mood, and Love, really goes deep into these aspects of healing our core trauma and
Mm-hmm.
healing from our ancestral lineage with ways that are very practical, using essential oils, using meditation, using crystal healing, using nutrition, and many of these vibrational aspects of medicine that are so profound for not only working with the level of consciousness and
Mm-hmm.
the belief system, but also at the cellular level, because everything is held, all trauma is stored in the physical
Mm-hmm.
body. So it's not something like, well, I'm just going to think it away, because a conscious mind is actually not running the show. Our subconscious
Subconscious.
mind actually is, our brain is operated over 95% of our decisions come from the subconscious level.
Yeah.
So if we think about conscious mind, subconscious, and then of course divine mind, superconscious, well, how can we access those higher states of superconscious consciousness if we are having a very heavy connection in our subconscious from all of our past experiences, because the
Mm-hmm.
subconscious just records it, every experience we've ever
Yep.
had, but without gradation, without judgment. Every experience is taken as fact. So until we can learn to navigate, modulate the subconscious to revise, reframe our belief systems, our patterns,
Mm-hmm.
right? And the patterning is such a real sweet spot of my work. In fact, we myself and my colleague Sean Christian, who's an actor and creative mindset coach in Los Angeles, are co-facilitating these two beautiful retreats, Sacred Relationship and
Yeah.
Manifesting Your Soulmate. And so, of course, threaded with love. And so, one of my great joys in teaching and moving us through these experientials is how we can transmute the pattern at that core level. So then we can open to a new experience of life and love, right?
Yeah.
Fully, freely. And to be able to cultivate, to create that love and that life that we know is possible somewhere deep inside of us.
Absolutely. And what came up for me when you were talking is like one big part of my own healing journey was when I got very clear on what my relationship to my thoughts were. And when I
Yeah.
realized that I'm actually the authority of my thoughts, right? Like I'm the thinker, I'm
Yeah.
the observer. Like I always heard that, but I never actually
Mhm.
understood it. And then when it clicked and I was like, wait a minute, the I amness, my actual higher self, my true consciousness,
Yes.
that's who's thinking. So if I'm that's thinking, then I'm actually the authority, because I also have the
Yes,
power to change it. Just like you were saying, it's about intentionally shifting your subconscious mind to what you actually want to
exactly.
experience in your life. And then the
Yeah.
other part of that, which we've been talking about, is yes, I'm the authority, but I also have to be the authority in a compassionate way. It has
Yeah.
to be
So true.
through
Yeah.
self-compassion, through self-love. Because if I'm like, I'm the authority of my thoughts, but I'm going to criticize myself, I'm going to yell at myself, I'm going to judge myself, I'm going to put myself
Mm.
down for, how dare I have a negative thought? Sometimes there's that stuff going on.
Yeah.
Oh, blah blah blah. But like, no. It's like to me, it's like
Mm.
having like a loving, compassionate curiosity. Like, where did that thought
Yes.
come from? And then it's also saying, well, why do I think this thought? And do I want to think this thought? And if I don't want to think the
Hmm.
thought, one affirmation I say is, okay, thank you, thought. And I'm going to release you to the universe for good. Like, I don't need you anymore. And then I choose a new
I
thought that
love
I
that.
actually want to experience. Or if I find myself on a loop, just like on autopilot, I'm like, no, 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 wait up, Candy, hold on. What is it that I actually want to experience? Let me think about that. So it's getting that authoritative yet compassionate relationship to my thoughts. And one way that I do that is through meditation. But do you want to talk about some of
Mm.
the other stuff that you guys have going on, like
Yeah.
aromatherapy and candles and all of that? Because I really think all of those tools and techniques and healing practices that we do, it's to cultivate that compassionate relationship to yourself, and then taking
Yes.
your power back to say, I actually get to decide what I believe. I actually get to decide what I think. I actually get to say, yes, that is true for me, or no, it's not true for me. It's taking
Yeah.
that power back. And then I think once you take that power back and then you step into your higher consciousness, then that's when you're like, I'm actually an intentional creator of my life. I'm not reacting to
Mm.
stuff. I'm creating it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So you want to share
And
some more?
it's, yeah, absolutely. I love this conversation so much because
Mm-hmm.
there's so many valuable tips and insights here for your viewers, your listeners.
Yeah.
Um, a couple of things. I think when we look at that connection to our divine, or we call that superconscious mind, that is really the creator mindset, right? It's our creator connection. When we look at the subconscious level, we're really looking at that's the generator, because it's generating
Mm,
so many of our patterns, our habits, right?
yeah.
The ways that we interact, our decisions, even if we don't realize it. And then, of course, our conscious mind is the actualizer, right? Actualizing change in the moment. So, how do we learn how to navigate our subconscious and repopulate it with intentions that are self-honoring, that with
Mm.
intentions that create greater abundance, greater harmony, and greater love. So I have a wonderful one of the techniques that I created. It's called the love code breath technique, breath
Ooh.
work for the modern alchemist. And so it has three simple intentions, simple but powerful, and breath. So I'm going to go through the one by one, and then we can walk through it together.
Okay.
So it is release, it is forgiveness, and then it is gratitude. And
Mm.
release, because we know when we have a thought or a feeling that doesn't feel good, we start to, right, we get activated, we're triggered, like, oh, I'm stressed, or I start to kind of cave in a little bit. We want to be able to, in the moment, train ourselves to release, to let go of that emotion or that thought. And then we bring in the consciousness, the energy of forgiveness, not to forgive another person per se, but it's an energy that we receive within ourselves. It's like bathing yourself in the energy of forgiveness. And what does that do? That paves the way for grace.
Ah, yes.
Grace fills us with solace,
Mhm.
with great presence. And then the third breath is gratitude, because gratitude is, of course, we know, one of the highest frequencies for co creation. And
Mhm.
when we can shift into that, immediately we go back into expansion, right? Heart expansion versus the contraction of feeling overwhelmed. Also, when we can have gratitude for our courage and commitment to transform, it is incredibly empowering. So the process is very simple. You can do it anywhere, right? You don't have to be in meditation. You can be in line at the grocery store when you just saw that text that, made your hair stand up.
Yeah.
Right? So on the breath in, so it's a breath in, and in the breath, the inhalation, you feel the expansion, and then just inviting in the intention to release, to let go. Now, of course, the release breath may take 3 or 4 breaths. That's okay, because the more that you use this process, the more quickly it's going to work for you.
Hmm.
So once you feel like, okay, your muscles have let go of the tension, you're not activated anymore, you feel more calm, then you invite in that in breath of forgiveness. And it
Hmm.
just fills your body with such a sense of grace and tranquility. And then when you have that centeredness, then you breathe in that breath of gratitude to yourself and
Hmm.
feel your energy expand and your magnetic point of attraction with the universe to uplift.
Yes.
It's simple,
So
it's
I
powerful.
love it. I love it. So much came up for me. So what came up for me when you were talking? A couple things. I love the grace part of it. I think that's such a
Yeah.
beautiful space to be in, a space of grace, because it gives you not just your own strength, but like divine strength. Like, no matter what's
Yes.
going on, no matter what the text said, no matter what the circumstances are, grace says,
Yeah.
not that something isn't going to happen, but even if it does, I know that I'm divinely supported and I will get through it and I will be okay. It's like
Yes.
I will have the grace for this moment no matter what. So you don't fall into chaos and self sabotage and going anxiety or
Right.
depression or off the deep end or spiraling.
Yeah.
You can just like you said, take the moment, take the beat, reflect, calm down, get that power back, through the
Yeah.
divine support. Like, I don't even have to worry about this because, consciousness, super consciousness, divine, God, they're going to take care of this. So it gives you that divine,
Exactly.
right? It gives you that divine support. And then the other thing that came up was about the appreciation piece and gratitude,
Mm,
which I think is so powerful. And I can tell a story about that in a second for me, but it, I think that really takes the ego out of those triggering moments, because the ego
yeah.
says something's wrong, fear, something's wrong. But appreciation and gratitude says everything's okay.
Yeah.
And it really,
And I don't have to blame
go
anyone
ahead.
outside of myself for the experience.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. There's no blame, there's no shame, there's no any of that. It's,
Yeah.
if you're appreciating the moment, if you gratitude in the moment, all is well. There's nothing to worry about.
Yeah.
I'm completely divinely supported through grace, right? All is
Yeah.
well. All is well.
Mhm.
And then the other thing that came up for me when you were talking is what I think is so beautiful about your exercise is that it's a very quick and easy and practical way to come back to the present moment. And that is
Yes.
where that is the only place where you actually have power,
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
present moment. So you don't see the text and you spiral into depression thinking about everything that happened that was so bad that led up to this text. Worrying about the past is depression. Or you don't spiral into anxiety. What's going to happen because they sent this text, and this is going to happen, and everything's going to be bad, and they're going to dump me, or I'm not going to have money, or this is going to happen, or whatever it is. Worrying about the future, falling into anxiety. But your exercise puts you in that present moment. You know what? I can release this. I have divine support. I have grace for this moment. I appreciate everything
Yeah.
going on. I can get through it. And then you have the power, instead of reacting to every single thing, you can say, how am I going to choose to respond? And that is where your power is. So it takes you out of, like we've been talking about, that sort of default subconscious, how am I just going to autopilot react to this? To how do I intentionally choose to respond to this moment now that I'm clear, now that I'm stabilized, now that I'm calm, I'm tapping into my divine support, I'm appreciating things, my ego is in check, I got this.
Hmm.
And you can just, and you're right, it's that little thing you can just do to yourself. I'm going to breathe, I'm going to release. And then, and
Yeah.
you can do it in any moment. And that's really the
In
beauty
any
of the
moment.
exercise.
In any
In
moment.
any
And
moment.
that's really where again, coming back to the power of the present moment,
Yeah.
because when we can retrain ourselves for
Mhm.
these healthier habits, it really shifts our entire relationship with life. And of course, first
Yeah.
and foremost, with ourselves. Now, from my perspective as an aromatherapist and working with essential oils for the past, many decades, to further potentize this, you would use your like a roller ball, something very handy that you
Yeah.
can carry with you to roll on and breathe in the moment, because and this is so powerful, because this way you're not only making the connection with the amygdala and limbic system of the brain that regulates so much of our physiology, but specifically mood, memory, and emotion,
Mhm.
right? So think about that. That means that we can shift our feeling response in the moment. We can actually shift the whole configuration of the nervous system in the moment,
Mhm.
right? That's incredibly empowering. In addition to that, because our subconscious mind is records all of our data through the five senses.
Mhm.
Essential oils are a super potent mechanism to modulate, to clear those old patterns at the subconscious level and anchor new intentions to those new seeds that you really want to grow and nurture and flourish, right?
Mhm.
Of healthy relationships and healthy ways that you love and care for yourself first and foremost, no matter what.
100%. What came up for me when you were talking was it also, like the aromatherapy, it's a great way to self-soothe yourself, you know?
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
great way to soothe yourself. Like when you get that trigger moment or before you go into, your pain body reaction, it's a good way
Yes.
to self-soothe yourself, just like, with like reparenting yourself as well. Think about, a mother or a father with their baby and their baby starts to get a little finicky, you're going to give it a pacifier to
Yeah.
pacify it, to soothe it. So now as adults, we can use, the tools and techniques and everything that you offer as a way to soothe our own selves in that moment. Like these are the ways that we can
Exactly.
take care of our own emotional well-being, and even beyond that, our own spiritual well-being, in
Yes.
that
Yeah.
moment, through soothing ourselves through the technique, the release technique that you said. That's a great way to soothe yourself and just get back and stabilize yourself and get that inner peace. And then from that place of stability, take your power pack
Mhm.
to choose. And then also with the aromatherapy, and that's
Yeah.
also a good way to like even like train yourself. You put it on.
Yes.
You could say like one thing I do, like when I spray something that I really love, like a perfume I like, I have like either like an affirmation with it, I am so loved. Everyone loves me and wants to make my life easier. It's like
Yes, that's
that's one
beautiful,
that's one
Candy.
that's one of my favorite ones.
That's so good. I love it.
Yeah, I'm always like, everyone loves me and they want to make my life easier. I always get the VIP treatment. I like say that all the time to
Yes.
myself. It just says, and it's even affirmations. You're soothing yourself because there's either something in the moment that you're getting a little uncomfortable or a little triggered about, and it's just a little reminder of, what, everything's okay. In this
Yeah.
moment, am I okay? Yes. In this moment, am I safe? Yes. And it's just getting
Yeah.
back to that center of, in this moment, I'm okay. And no matter what, I'm divinely supported, just like you said, through
Yeah.
grace. And it's a great way to soothe
Beautiful.
yourself.
Yeah. The other thing is that when you're using essential oils in the inhalation, particularly with the affirmations or the love code breath technique that we just walked through of release, forgiveness, and gratitude, not
Mhm.
only can you shift your energy and feeling in the moment, soothe yourself, soothe your nervous system, but the more that you use it, you can actually repattern your neural pathways. And that's so powerful because then you're lighting up a completely new level of expectation for yourself. Just like you so beautifully said, right? Everyone loves you. They all want to make your life easier. You always get the
Yeah.
VIP treatment, right? This
Yeah.
is a new neural pathway that you are creating and then um, cementing, so to speak, within your psyche and your brain.
Yeah. Yeah, it's how you shift your consciousness. Like I know some people use the word reprogramming, but I don't really like that word. Just personally, I'm like reprogramming now. We're shifting because it's not that I'm reprogramming my current consciousness. I'm shifting from one consciousness to another. Like when I
Yeah.
think of reprogramming, I'm like, well, I already have the software and I'm, reprogramming the current one. But I think of shifting, I'm like, no, I was watching one show. I was watching one script, one scene, but I'm going to take that one out and I'm going to put a whole new one in. So it's like a
Yeah.
shifting,
Yeah.
shifting from like, am I just stuck into like my old patterns, my own belief system, or I'm going to shift into the version of Candy that knows and believes everyone loves me and wants to make my life better. That's a new level. That's a different level of consciousness. Or am I going to be
Totally.
stuck in the same consciousness of like, nothing works out for me. I always get the short end of the
Yeah.
stick. I'm too this, I'm too that. I'm not enough of that. I'm not enough of this. I don't want to rewrite that. I want to shift to something higher.
Right. We've all been there and done that, right?
Exactly. That's the old
Yeah.
that's the old track. That's the old track. We got the
Yeah.
new track.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
Do you have
beautiful.
any
There's so much synergy between us here. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, when I saw like your bio and everything, I was like, she's gonna be great. I'm so excited. Oh, I want your
Oh,
opinion
okay.
on this is one thing I really wanted to talk to you about crystals. I saw that
Hmm.
there's crystals. What are
Yeah.
your thoughts and guidance on those?
Well, crystals are so powerful because anytime that we have the opportunity to connect with the natural world,
Hmm.
we are awakening that sense of deeper connection and ancient wisdom that is held within us. And crystals are such a relatively untapped field in vibrational medicine. And yet, if we just thinking, if I have any quartz here, I have so many crystals right here at my desk, but let's take this quartz crystal because most people are probably familiar with quartz.
Yeah.
This can be found in military telecommunications equipment, our computers, our watches, our clocks, right? Why is that, right? And
Hmm.
how many of us really know that? They're like, oh, crystals, do they work? Is that kind of a woo thing? But
Right.
these are actually wonderful amplifiers, conductors of energy, and therefore information, and that's why they're used through so many aspects of our technology. Well, if we think about that, if quartz crystal in our computer or in communication equipment is there because it conducts energy, it amplifies energy, well, what would that do for me? Right?
Mm.
How could I use that? What would be amplified, energized if I were to incorporate this into my daily practice? So, one of the things that I say is whether you have your office out of the house or at home, or around your home, when you can select crystals that resonate to you and cleanse them, you are incorporating elements of the natural world that have specific vibrational patterns. Those vibrational patterns, right, emanate frequency and can help us create greater harmony, greater clarity, more rapid healing, right? Help to balance us from stress. And so when we look to history of using crystals, not only have they been used through our technology, but they have been used for sacred healing, right? From ancient tribal practices of
Hmm.
using crystal as gems, not just for jewelry, but for healing, for offering. And so it is because they are potent conductors of vibration. Um, if we look at a crystal like kyanite, this is a blue stone. This is wonderful for helping our communication. So having a piece of this in your office, or if you have a home office at your desk,
Yeah.
or even if you have a challenge around communication, around speaking your truth, speaking with strength and courage, but also grace, this is a great thing that you can hold on while you are looking to have deep, meaningful conversation, conscious
Yeah.
communication with another. So crystals like black tourmaline, sugilite, great to have around your computers and technology for EMF protection. But I've been using crystals in my healing practice for well over 25 years
Yeah.
to really profound experiences. They help us to accelerate our spiritual growth and awakening, and are really helpful for a whole myriad of different things. I'm just working on right now a new crystal grid
Ah,
for a vitality activation for some of my students in the love frequency, and how we can line up tiger's eye around the adrenal glands that right are our power centers, and the dantian point, which is our part of our earth connection, our PowerPoint in terms of our energetic core. Well, using crystals this way on the physical body can also help to energize, balance, and strengthen our physicality and our energy field.
I love that. And I had one question on that. You said to cleanse the crystals. What do you mean by that?
Yes, so when you purchase a crystal from a store, you always want to take it home and clear it of any energies, because they also pick up just like we do,
Yeah.
right? Any living organism is going to accumulate the energy of its environment. So there are many different ways. We have some wonderful information on that on the blog at the Soul Institute, but some very simple practices that you can do. You can, if you come home with your quartz crystal, you can run it under cool water for about a minute. You can also bury it in the ground for 3 days. You could put it out in the moonlight or the sun to charge it after it's been cleansed, but you wouldn't want to do both.
Got it.
It's I
Got it.
that most things aren't either or, but this is.
No, it's great.
Yeah.
Uh, Adora, thank you so much. This time, I know my cup is running over. This has been such a
Oh.
great and powerful, enlightening, and I believe much needed conversation. And I'm sure everyone that is watching and will listen will feel the same. So, if you
Oh.
had one thing, one kernel of wisdom to leave with us, what would that one thing be?
I would say that every single moment has brought you perfectly here and now,
Mm,
even though the journey appears imperfect, and that you have everything that you need within you to heal at the deepest level. And when you can learn to love yourself no matter what, it changes everything.
yes. I love that. I absolutely love that. And everybody, everything we've talked about with the door will be linked down below in the description box and the show notes. But do you also want to just share with us where we can find you, how we can work with you, how we can connect with you?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. So thesoulinstitute.co is my website. You'll find everything from products, services, programs, and our retreats, because I'll be out in the Los Angeles area in May. So we have two beautiful retreats there, Manifesting Your Soulmate, Couples Retreat, as well as many other programs and book signings. So lots of information there. And of course, you can follow me at Adora Winquist, subscribe to my YouTube at Adora Winquist as well. So it's Instagram, and all the handles, all the platforms are at Adora Winquist. And join our quantum community, because we really have so many wonderful tools to support your journey, curate your journey of self mastery and self love. And many of them, many are free.
I love that. Thank you so much, Adora. And thank you,
Thank
everyone,
you.
for listening and watching. And as always, if you need additional support, just check out the show notes and description box. We have a ton of courses on self love, manifesting your dream life, obviously through self love first. It's a great way to do lifestyle design. Also, be sure to grab our self love journal and subscribe, rate, review, and share. Share this with someone that you think needs support or could be a source of support, because your journey to self love is always better with a friend. And as always, you guys, take care of yourself and each other. And I will see you next time.
Mm.
Bye.
Thanks, Candy.